I hit the button by accident.
Okay.
Sorry. Hi, Mom. Just call me Fanya. Hello. Here we are at the Friday Night Movie Podcast. 3 sibs, 3 time zones. 3 hilarious opinions, although we mostly agree with each other on a lot of things.
Wow, that was you didn't even try to do the buttery voice. You just went with your own tone.
No, I went with my own tone of like, we are here, let's have fun. That was my tone. I was like doing channeling maybe Adam Devine and Joan Rivers, because I can't get away from that woman's voice, because that's what I sound like. Becky Beck, how you doing out in California?
We've had some drama in my house this morning, but I'm okay. A little arguing over baby's nap time. The baby's nap time. See, she normally wakes up at 7 and we nap her around 9, but she woke up at around 5:30 this morning. No one's tired, don't worry. And I tried to put her down for a nap, and she a little bit early, and she just screamed.
Nobody
She literally
cares.
just
She's the
screamed.
cutest baby ever.
She just screamed. But I have to tell you, that aside,
Becky's like, my baby slept for 12 hours, and we can't
And
figure
she's
out
so
when she should go down for a nap.
that is
And then she didn't
Also
cry.
true.
All she did was snuggle with us.
so the best. Oh God, that is the best in the morning when she snuggles with us and the dog. And then now my favorite thing is I just give her like little crackers, and she kind of just like toddles around. She can't really walk yet, but she like holds on to things and just eats her crackers. It's so cute.
It's adorable.
But yeah,
you sound
still
great.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm still great,
that's good.
still perfect.
And for the first time in the history of the show, we are dying to hear about Shai and how he's doing.
That's right. And I'm enjoying. I'm so jet lagged that I'm enjoying not having to host. I think we'll do more sister hosted episodes because this is quite relaxing. So I just came back from a week-long work trip, and I was in India for my first time ever. And there were a couple. I'm not going to get into the details of the work trip, but I'm going to get into the details of a couple important, life-changing things that happened. And one of the long-time running arguments in my house was my wife's love of Indian food and my absolute refusal to eat it. Now, that isn't to say I haven't had it in my lifetime, but I can kvetch, which means complain for those who don't know the term, with the best of them. And the times when Allie does bring me for Indian food, you'd hear me complaining every minute of the way until I finally eat something, and maybe I like it, maybe I don't. Well, we were in India for a week, and when in India, eat the Indian food. And like one day into the trip, I'm writing back to Allie saying, Allie, have you tasted Indian food before? It's amazing.
Like, if I was Allie, I'd have to be admitted for psychiatric help.
No,
That would give me a mental breakdown.
No, but I also think there's a difference. There's a difference going to like an Indian restaurant in DC, and you're like, oh, this is supposed to be good
so you had to
food.
go all the way to India to
Sometimes you
have
have
the
to
food.
go to the country, and it's so delicious and it's so authentic.
That must be my problem with Indian food then.
I
tried. I mean, my rule when I was there, because I was so afraid of getting sick, is that I was just going to eat things that were cooked, and the things that were cooked at all the meals that I had were mostly the Indian food. And I had veg dishes, and I had curried chicken, and I had dal, and I had
on a level
tikka masala.
Spicy.
Oh, Lily, you cannot eat. You could not eat a single. You could maybe eat the bread. Like, Lily, you
The
think?
naan bread.
Yeah,
So
maybe.
about it.
That's about it.
Like 5,000 pounds. So I just bring a jar of peanut butter in order to not.
Yeah, there's nothing you could eat in India.
But I need to understand if we are talking about big red gum, and that stuff is spicy. So if we're talking about that's a level 1 spice, and then a barbecue chip is a level 10 because those are inedible, they're so spicy.
So
where are we on the 1 to 10 scale?
So let's see. I would say that like the candies for children are 2 steps above a big red gum.
Oh my God.
But
Those poor children.
the flavors are. I mean, it was amazing.
The flavors are amazing, right?
And I've learned to eat vegetarian food in the last couple of years, and I really liked it. But wow, we had these things called momos, which are essentially like gyozas. You know, they're like a version of a dumpling or gyoza. Mm-hmm. Man, we had veggie
it's like
momos.
a samosa?
No,
it's a momo.
Like
a steamed dumpling.
Steamed dumpling.
Oh.
Man, momos were amazing.
But spicy.
No, the momos weren't spicy. They were spicy depending on which sauce you put on. You could eat a veggie momo, Lily. That's the one thing in India you could eat.
Okay, writing that down.
Well, could you eat samosas at McGill? Were you able to eat the
no,
samosas at McGill?
Definitely not.
Then,
tried one.
Then you can only have a momos. Now, McGill University, for some reason, always had the best samosas. Always.
Like out of a cardboard box.
There's always
just to, like,
someone...
raise money for different...
Exactly.
Yeah,
for
charity.
Someone raising money, selling samosas.
Like somebody's grandma made them. They brought in a giant cardboard box and made like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I tried it once. Had to go home. My mouth was on fire.
So I loved it. I didn't get sick. I actually I stayed with the cooked food and I tried everything that I could and it was fantastic. There were a couple of soup
and there's
dishes.
no beef. No beef?
No, there was mutton, which I just finally put together that mutton
is lamb.
I know, but is mouton in French.
Is mouton, yeah.
So
yeah.
for Madame Granger listening, I made a French connection to an English word that I didn't realize before.
Mazel tov.
And I will say desserts were one of the weaker items on the menu out there, except this one place had the most incredible carrot cake, and I kept going back and having variations of the same.
But to be fair,
cake.
that's not an Indian.
No. It's just one of the places happened to have made this amazing carrot cake. So, anyways, Shai now likes Indian food, and Allie, she's still checking to see if it's true. She still says, "Wait, so we're really going to go for Indian food?" I'm like, oh, absolutely. I'm like 100% all in on it.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Which is, I think it's the equivalent of showendipity. It's like foodendipity. It's like I had been eating, healthy for a couple of years, but at a certain point,
and Indian food is healthy.
Yeah. So at a certain point, you need something.
It's gonna be heavy.
Certain point, you need something new in your rotation, and now I've got something new in my rotation. So,
I'm very happy.
the other big Friday night movie moment I had. So I was there, and there was a group of young people, younger than us, that I was meeting with, and they were all from different countries, from the Middle East, from Latin America, and Africa. And at one point, we were talking about which TV shows we like, and there were different intersecting TV shows that 2 or 3 people would get, but two people wouldn't. And the one show that everybody's face lit up on, like no matter which country, was Money Heist. Everyone lost their mind. They were like, "Oh, Money Heist!"
I tried to explain that to Jose.
It's an international.
Like,
it's an international sensation, and it made me so happy. So for Lons and for Alana and for Pam,
I'm getting
all of our.
I only have one I told you show, but it's the ultimate.
No, you have a couple. You got Killing Eve.
Oh, I guess.
But Money Heist is...
That was nominated for an Emmy.
But Money Heist, Lily, you've captured some serious zeitgeist.
Yeah.
People need to go and watch this show because it is clearly catching on around the world, and it's not it's not an American show, and I think it's really captured people's imagination.
That has to do with it because people in other countries who aren't used to watching TV in their own language are fine with watching a show with subtitles. They're more used to it. Whereas Americans, it's not really part of the culture at all. So it makes sense that other people are outside the U.S. are so willing to watch it.
That's true. That's true. I mean, this is another evolution. This is, how there's the Bevolution on the Goldbergs. Maybe there's a Shai-elution going on here in that I'm starting to watch more and more shows with subtitles.
It has begun. Because the texts you sent us were just so out of character from India and just so wildly different from what we imagine you in India being like.
Like going for
on vacation with that Shai. Yeah. Becky and I was like, Becky, how do we go on vacation?
Vegas with us this year?
Right. I want Shai to come to Vegas, and Becky was like, maybe we just all have to go to India with Shai. And I was like, if I have to do that, and I have to bring my own food, I will, because I want to meet that Shai. There's definitely Shai-illusion.
I behave similarly when we've traveled to Israel.
I guess you like the Orient.
Maybe
Is that a
that's,
thing?
yeah, that's
Like
that area.
Shai, is that correct?
I mean,
No,
in the old-timey British Empire sense, they was using the correct term.
That part of the world. I'm not calling a single person that. I just mean like the not
We
West.
need to edit this part of the episode.
No, we don't. Lily's using sort of just old-timey British colonial terms. It's fine.
Sounds like
Now, but Lily,
you say like that.
Lily, how are you?
Well, I'm good. I'll be quick. As the host, I don't feel like I should monopolize the time. And I did not go to India, but I will quickly say that I went to my first Spanish wedding, which I felt like what you must feel like all the time. I found my like white whale of food where I tried something at a wedding. It was like served to me on a hors d'oeuvre plate. And I was like, I need to find this. I had never eaten it. It's called a tequeño.
What is that?
Venezuelan. The best way I could describe it is if somebody made like a dough that was a mix between a challah and a pretzel, and it was long.
What?
They may have fried it, and inside was the most delicious mozzarella-ish type cheese, and it's a stick. So it's like a giant, long, like challah-y hot.
Because you love
pretzel.
cheese. You're
And you bite into it, and it's like a melty, delicious cheese inside. Shai, I can't tell you. I was at this wedding and I tried one on a hors d'oeuvre plate, and the groom was with us at this moment, and he's like, "You got to try one." And I was like, it's on my diet, but okay, I'll try one. And he's like, "Get two." I was like, "Okay." Well, the groom told me to get two. He's like, "No, get me one." And so I'm like hoarding these things, and I tried it, and I was like, oh my God, this is what Shai's life is like. And I've been on a mission. I sent Becky the recipe, and I was like, can you make these for me? And I've been on a mission trying to find a ticket.
In like how much I love snacks?
Yes, and just like I feel like you're the kind of person that like finds a type of carrot cake in India, and then you spend like the rest of your days finding a way to get that carrot cake again.
Oh, I ate it 5 more times. I befriended the owner. Oh yeah.
One to
there for that long.
I don't have one.
I'd go into the restaurant, and because we'd end up back at the same restaurant or another one owned by the same owner, and I'd go in and I'd buy the whole carrot cake, and I'd just start giving it out to people.
That's amazing.
Carrot cake for the table.
Carrot cake for the table. Anyway, so I feel like one day I would like you to try this delicious.
100%. Is it going to be like the chocolate, the churros con chocolate, which you denied me the first time I visited when you in Spain? You didn't even tell me.
Denied him.
And the last day, Lily's like, by the way, they have churros and chocolate, but it's closed. So sorry, come back next time.
I probably was not tapped into like how important. I know snacks are important, but for Shai, snacks are an experience.
I remember when Shai came when Ari was born, he came armed with like a suitcase of snacks. Or I just remember maybe we went to the store and we bought like bags and bags of snacks, and we just were like
into Shai's
hunkered down
snack.
at your house eating snacks.
But churros are one of my very special snacks. Like if I'm in a stadium and there's a churro option, I always buy a churro.
Okay, anyway, so back to me for a second. So the Spanish wedding was crazy. It went all night, and the dancing only started at 1 a.m. That was nuts. I had never been to one before. Dad is visiting, so that's hilarious. Dad in Spain is, I wish there was an adequate metaphor. Dad is, but Dad loves it here. Like, he loves his little cafecito, and he loves going to the plaza, and Dad is like, somehow this guy from Brooklyn is just in his element in Spain, which is adorable.
With that bubble machine he bought your kid.
He bought our
like an industrial amusement park-sized bubble machine.
And we took it to the park, and we put it on.
The video you sent of Ari on your terrace with the bubble machine going, you can't see him because there are so many bubbles.
So it was like an Israeli foam party on your balcony.
Dad texts me and he's like, can you believe there's too many bubbles? And I was like, that's like a Shai thing. I'm like, that means it's working. Like, that's what I wanted. I wanted to correct amount of bubbles. Yesterday we took it to the park because it's actually a lot of bubbles, so he could run around and play with them. And a bunch of kids came up to play too, and so it was like €2 a piece. Cute kids.
Of course he was.
It's like charging admission.
I told a lot of the people the story of Jose with the air conditioner and the electricity, and him turning off the air conditioner when I leave the room.
Not in the room. It makes sense.
But then the room never gets cold. And then,
anyways,
okay, so
yeah,
keep going.
No, and the other thing I just wanted to bring up that I've been meaning to bring up for a while is that, do you guys remember in The Wedding Singer, that adorable old lady who sings the rap
with the meatballs?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm turning into her with the meatballs.
But I feel like that has been your life's goal.
Like, I have been cooking more and more because I've got so many people in my house. Again, there's like 7 dudes in my house and me, and I'm like they eat a lot, so I'm just cooking and cooking, and the slow cooker, which is the greatest invention ever. So I keep making all these like interesting recipes and watching
Send
it.
them
Like
to me. Send them to me.
You've already cooked all these things, Becky, for years. It's nothing new. Like, I made chili, but literally, like I served it, and I sat there and I was like, I want to watch you taste it. Holding their hand, I was like, tell me everything. I want to see you taste it, and I want you to explain it to me because I was so proud of myself, and I wanted to see the joy, and I felt like an old Jewish lady. Anyways,
Lily, you are on the fast track to old Jewish lady
to Bevy Town.
Yeah,
I am on the fast track. But anyways, okay. So everybody's doing great, and we all watched a movie. We can jump into that. We all watched a movie that I figured was, sometimes it's great to find the perfect quote unquote Friday night movie. The essence of this podcast is that when we were kids on Friday nights, we'd go see action movies with our dad and our mom as a family. And the point was that if we didn't go see a shoot 'em up kind of crazy action movie, our dad would fall asleep. And so because it was supposed to be family time, we deferred and always watched those movies. And when I saw the preview for Hotel Artemis, I was like, this is a classic Friday night movie. We got to watch it and talk about it on the podcast. And I think this made me really think of the idea that in the circumstance in which you watch a movie defines if you're going to like it or not. Like, it has so much to do with it. Where you are, who you're with,
absolutely.
theater, home.
Absolutely. In fact, for me, people often say, "Oh, a movie." Then you're not. You don't even have to be talking to each other when you're watching a movie for it to be an interactive experience. But for me, going to the movies is a social experience. It is not a experience that you're having like without other people. It is fun to go and talk about it afterwards, and game out the story and things like that. Like that is, I 100% agree. Seeing movies alone, I don't necessarily. When I see a movie alone, it's already sort of the movie's in trouble. Not in trouble, but it's disadvantaged.
No, yeah, that happened to me with Juliet Naked. I think if I had saw that with somebody, I would have been a bit more into it because I love a good Nick Hornby adaptation. But seeing it alone, I'm just like, okay, it was cute, Whereas this, Shai texts his reaction to the movie before I've seen it, and he's like, it's all right, it's good, it's not great, it's not that good. And I was like, oh man. And I was like, no, I will not give in. I'm watching it with Jose and Dad, who are like super action movie people. This movie has to be good.
I don't know.
And so my whole thing today was, I was like, we got to duel this out a bit because yeah.
Wait, so hold on, we have to duel this out, which meant that you wanted to start a new game, right? Where there was a duel?
Yeah. And I'm not saying that like this movie is the greatest movie ever, but I think I wholeheartedly disagree with Shai's initial like text response to it. Like his initial reaction, I'm like, no, that's not at all true. So I'm like, I don't think it's not at all true. I just don't think it's entirely true. But I do believe there are truths in his reaction.
All right, hold on a second. So, to be clear, we're now segueing into the Hotel Artemis part of this conversation?
Yes.
Okay, so how about I tee up what it's about, and then I'll give a little bit of my impression, and then you can hit me back, okay?
I could tee it up since I'm the host. But
all right, fine. Tee it up, Lily.
I mean,
also, Lily,
we established a few minutes ago when I said now we're going to talk about Hotel Artemis that we were in that portion of the show. So
all right, so tell people what Backseat host. What it's about.
It's a new term for the glossary.
Backseat host. That's a great term. I'm writing it down. Okay, I will be brief.
Did I say what it's about since I haven't really spoken this episode?
I can't say what it's about, but I was going to impress you with my brevity because I practiced.
Okay, go, Lily.
Okay. Futuristic LA. There are riots everywhere. People have to pay for clean water to drink. There's riots. It's madness. But there is a hotel which acts as like a secret underground hospital for criminals that has a set of 10 rules in which if you are a member, which you prepay and have a membership, you can get access to this hotel totally under the wire. We'll get help for whatever medical ailment you have, like gunshot wounds or whatever, and very discreet. And if you're at that hotel, then nobody can kill you or mess with you because the criminals can't, kill each other in this hotel. And that's the best.
Now there was, I will say there was a lot of, but
that actually might be better than the movie the way you described it.
But everything Lily's describing, there's a lot. So I'll say the things that I liked about this movie is that it's an hour and a half, and Lily just listed a lot of things of like world building that goes on in this. All of the things that Lily described are evident. They don't 100% spell them out. They kind of just show you that this is the world that they're in, and then it's a story about a very specific corner of that world. So it's not like you're hearing like part of the riots are against some evil corporation. You don't see the inside of that evil corporation at any point in the movie. The whole point is that there are riots going on, and you're following the characters that are in this very specific place. I actually did enjoy that part. It was not a movie where they felt they had to tell you everything going on. So here's where I came down. Lily asked if it was good, and I just gave her a one-word no. I think the actors in it are great. I love all the actors in it. This cast,
surprisingly phenomenal cast. Like, how did they get this cast
Sterling
together?
K. Brown, who I love and who was amazing in Predator. In the recent Predator movie, Batista, who plays Drax, he was quite good.
So good.
Jodie Foster, who doesn't act a lot, she kind of reappears every once in a while. Plays
kind of like a surprise hit with her.
Well, it was like she was acting on a level in the movie that no one else was acting. that was one of the issues, is that I felt like different.
I'm shocked she made this movie.
There were different characters playing as if they were in different movies. And
that's a good point.
That's a good way of putting it. Every bad guy was like as if they were in their own movie, the villain of their own movie.
And Charlie Day, who I love.
Their energies did not match up.
Yeah, Charlie Day, who I love. He's one of the most talented people. Is just, again, it's like he's in an episode of Always Sunny playing like a villain in Always Sunny as opposed to a villain in a post-apocalyptic future. I didn't understand that character's motivation.
And I feel like that comes down to the directing. Like, each villain had such a drastically different direction.
I thought he was funny.
Anyways, bottom line is that it's a movie that is kind of open and shut in this story, and they leave a lot of things to your imagination, which again I enjoy. That's a little bit of a throwback to the 80s and 90s. The score of the movie, the music of the movie really bothered me. It was like that deep, moody electronica kind of music. It was like it reminded me of the music in Neon Demon, which is like really haunting and appropriate for that movie. And in this movie, it just irritated me.
Okay, that's interesting.
And it was very sort of dark and Blade Runner-y, but ultimately, you had Goldblum. I didn't even know Goldblum was in the movie, but Goldblum shows up for what must have been 2 hours on set at most to do his part.
At most, yeah.
Bottom line is that with all the actors that were in it, it lacked. I know this is going to be maybe a subjective thing. To me, it lacked charm. It lacked something to make me really root for or care about any one of the characters. I kept saying to myself, I'm like, oh, so is Jenny Slate the person I'm supposed to be rooting for? Is it supposed to be Sterling K. Brown? Is it supposed to be Jodie Foster? I guess it's Jodie Foster in the end.
I think it's Jodie Foster.
Yeah, and then I just have some questions in general about the plot. So in the end, I think it was like a middling action movie, but I would like to see that cast do another movie together because they were all amazing.
Right. I think the only frustrating thing is you're like, how did they get this cast? And
I
didn't necessarily need that cast, but
I was fine with the movie being, mediocre plus the whole way through, like an enjoyable Friday night action movie. And it was really in that last 15 minutes or so where I was like, what? Not like, what's the ending? When I say I did not understand the ending, I did not understand. I don't understand the ending of that movie.
But not like in an Inception way.
Like, not in an Inception
way. Like it's just like you're
like,
wait, what happened there?
The choices these characters are making don't really make sense to me. No, because the choices the characters made at the end didn't really make sense to me, and I didn't understand really what was. I mean, I don't want to ruin it, but I didn't. I just didn't. Every single character's choice at the end, I didn't get it.
I will say there was a lot of French counting in one scene in the movie, counting backwards in French. One of the characters
Brought
does.
you back to sixth grade.
And that I was like, oh yeah, that is how you say 93 in French. That I thought was very informative.
But like when
Sophia
all of the bad guys are locked
She's
out,
the bad guy from the Kingsman.
when all of the Wolf King's henchmen are locked out of Hotel Artemis and they're like outside that cage and they're trying to break in, don't they all have guns?
No, they don't. They have to give up their guns
They had to
get
put them
in.
in a vault. Like they had to put them in a garbage chute. As soon as they get out of the elevator, everybody has to put their guns in a garbage chute.
Okay.
They don't have weapons.
But you're still able to build guns out of a 3D printer that can also make a human liver.
Which is actually realistic.
Really?
So, yeah.
Well, I don't
You
know
can
the
make a human
part.
liver and
No,
a
I'm
gun
not the
from a
liver.
3D printer. Both of
Okay,
those.
but then I mean,
Definitely make a gun from a
I don't
3D
want to
printer.
ruin the
Huge
movie for
controversy.
people, so maybe we have to take this conversation offline. But I need someone to explain
why don't we just
to
declare
me,
spoilers? Okay, it is. We're
declaring spoilers.
We're gonna do spoilers for like 5 to 10 minutes.
Why does Drax stay back? Why doesn't Jodie Foster escape? Why does the lady assassin stay back?
Also,
Jodie Foster
what-
does escape.
what happens to
Okay.
Drax and the lady assassin? Do they die, or do they
So-
just?
so
You
when
never
Jodie
find out what
Foster
happens?
goes
But
back,
the ending,
what does-
Drax is alive, puts the lights back on, and she says, "Leave it Christmassy, babe." She's out. She's never
Oh.
going back. And Jodie Foster just walks away.
Oh, the
She has
lights
closure
went-
about her son's death. She can't go back to that. She's done, and Drax is gonna run it. He's gonna
So
be in
he
charge
fights
of it.
all the bad guys because I thought he gets like pummeled and murdered by them.
No, look.
No,
I mean,
he totally he's gigantic, and he stayed back, and it's just him against them. But they're coming in one at a time, so he's just like,
No, what are you
axing them.
talking about? At one point, they all, at like
Oh,
the end of the movie,
he's a
they
bad-
all like attack him.
yeah, but
And-
it's just like hands, and he's massive.
So we assume he survived.
Maybe he might have like a knife or something
We
because he
assume
has
he
like.
survives because he looked to me
No,
like he's gonna get killed.
At the very end, you see him put his healthcare professional badge back
Oh,
on,
I missed that.
and then the
Okay.
lights, the generator comes back up, and Hotel Artemis
That,
lights
by
up.
the way, should be
Oh, I
Batista's
missed
new. That should be like his "I'll be back." It should be the moment where he says, "I'm a healthcare professional."
Now, watching it with Dad, who deals with that and work and stuff, he was just cracking up.
Oh, that was very.
But,
funny. But wait, did the French
When
lady?
Jodie Foster walks away.
Jodie Foster walks away. She's out. She maybe.
Okay, maybe it's because I just got up and left to like do
She-
dishes or something. I missed the ending.
You
That
get
makes
the impression that now, because of the riot, so she loses her medical license, but she doesn't have an actual medical license. But you get the impression that because of all the rioting, she could go to any one of the hospitals and say, like, "I'm a nurse, let me help." And she said,
Okay.
"I'm not. There's all these people are injured. I'm not going to leave. I'm going to stay." So she says that to Sterling Brown, who's leaving.
I thought that she was gonna go back to Hotel Artemis.
No, she keeps it Christmassy, babe. Like, I'm out. Like, you keep it's yours now. Like, you're in charge of it.
Can
She's
you?
done.
Can you?
Says that to Drax, but then she.
No, she says that to Curling. Yeah, she said that to Drax. He can't hear her. She's just saying it out loud to herself.
So it's like us knowing that she knows that he's
So
alive.
she's okay. Curling.
Okay, so
Sterling
she's
came
not
from-
going to
gets
go
in
back to the
car,
hotel, but she is going to stay in LA.
and you get the impression, I think, that she's going to go and try to help maybe in one of the hospitals because she says, "I can help. There are people rioting. People are dying.
Okay.
I'm not leaving."
And then Sterling K. Brown,
Pieces out with 18 million in diamonds.
right, which, is a lot, but I feel like for 10 years from now, I feel like a detail like that, it should have been more, but okay, I guess that's what can fit in a pen. And
He's rich.
and
His
then
brother
why does the lady assassin stay to kill all the bad guys?
And that's what I was like, this movie may not have enough charm, but it's got heart.
But,
I
like,
like that
why?
the character development between her and Sterling Brown is that they obviously were like a couple or in love.
She's
You
gonna
mean
career tips
you mean
in
they
this
might
day?
be star-crossed
Star-crossed
lovers?
Maybe.
Lily.
So
and it's her fault that his brother dies. It's her fault that all these guys are overtaking the entire thing. None of them would have been there that night if it wasn't for her. You might have missed that she says when she's talking to her Detroit handler,
Oh,
I can't hear back anymore.
Because she's arranging it to have
So she arranged for him to get injured so that he had to come to the hotel so she could be there to kill him. And so because she did all of that.
Hit the mute button.
Lily did that too, by the way.
Happens to the best of us, because she did that. She has a guilty conscience, and they'll chase.
But it's not her fault that the Wolf King is going to the hotel.
Yes, it is, Becky. Oh my God, did you watch the movie?
No, she had to shoot her own arm to get into the hotel.
Get in. She set it up on the outside that he got tranced by a lady or something or other and got injured, so he has to go to the hotel to get fixed. She has set it up so that he's at the hotel that night to get whatever ailment fixed. Not enough to kill him.
So, what happens to Jenny Slate's character? Does she survive?
They
just drop her off as a cop in the middle of riots.
She can't stay inside the hotel. She gets dropped up, but she's healed.
Okay.
Or she's healing. She just saves her. And that also gives like quite a bit of heart to the movie.
Okay, I feel like
so in the end it kind
of. You can edit this out if you feel.
No. I think so. If I summarize, I like it.
Things for people who didn't watch the movie and didn't get it.
After listening to Lily describe and fill in some of the things that confused me, I like it a little bit more, and it actually kind of reminds me a little bit of one of those Assault on Precinct 13 type of movie, like a little bit of a John Carpenter kind of, or very 90s, bunch of criminals stuck in one place. But it's not
really make a ton of sense. There's like Charlie Day who gets like a grotesque get killed in a grotesque way just for fun. Like it's
Charlie Day's character. I think if they one of my
he's
most
poorly
talented
directed.
people.
I'm sorry.
I
thought he was funny. I didn't mind.
One of the most talented people, but his character really was not good in that movie.
I find he often doesn't play well in movies. Like his character, I feel like they don't know what to do with.
He was a weird choice for that character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I loved her.
Sophia
Boutella was great. I love Sterling K. Browning's awesome. Yeah, it was good enough for me. I think Bad Times at the Royale or El Royale.
Oh yeah,
that I have a lot more expectations for that movie. For example,
that's true.
Like as a good film. So when I go see that, I'm gonna be like, whoa, okay. Whereas this, I was like, if this can be a Renter, we're good. Like if I don't meh the shit out of this movie, we're fine.
Yeah, and both of those again, they have that '90s feel to them.
They do, but yet the Royale is calling more upon a Tarantino.
Becky, as our film expert, why do I have that reaction that these movies, both Royale and Artemis, make me think of the 90s? Like, what is it that I can't put my finger on it, but I'm like, these have a 90s feel to them.
I don't know. Ensemble cast, crime, campy crime. I feel like Lily's better to answer that because she's more of the pop culturist, but it does have a Tarantino pop. Yeah, you're right. It does have like a Tarantino.
Defines the 90s, turning action
into like
drama
comedy
on its head, right?
No, yes, or it's turning like dramatic crime films into comedies,
and makes there's often a vulnerability with the criminals, which we maybe not have seen this so widely before, but you have that in the Royale. It's kind of very clear. Plus, they're like pretending to be somebody they're not.
There's a whole reveal as things go down, like the backstories get revealed. Like it's always like 5 strangers in one place, like the Hateful Eight or Reservoir Dogs.
Like Jeff Bridges is probably not really a priest or whatever it is in the Royale. Like
and
one of them is
Hotel Artemis is similar. All these people are brought together, seemingly unconnected, but it actually is connected, and things are revealed. Okay, I got you. Now it makes more sense to me.
So yeah, I will say that it's So guys, Rent. Is it a Renter? You can.
I'll give it a rent. I'll give it a rent.
Back?
Oh, Rent for sure.
Okay, cool.
But I feel like a Rent with a fun group of people.
Right, and this is like a very important disclaimer. Exactly.
I'm not going to seriously sit and watch this. Like, I'm not going to watch this by myself on a plane and enjoy it. I'm going to watch it with a couple of friends and laugh.
I think that disclaimer is correct.
And eat snacks.
Right. Watch, and we talk throughout the whole movie while we're watching it.
Tons of snacks during this.
Okay. So we can get right into what we're watching, because everybody has so many what we're watching.
So many.
Do you want to go first, Beck?
Sure. Okay, let me go back to the show notes where I wrote down everything I'm watching. Okay, did I already tell you that I saw the movie First Man?
Yes, but I'm pretty sure you told me it was called Last Man, and I said I don't think it's true that he was the last man on the podcast.
Did I tell you on the podcast?
No, you did not. Okay. You told me on the phone when I said no, Becky. It's
Ryan Gosling is an astronaut.
So Ryan Gosling has two modes. Ryan Gosling being charming and cute. Ryan Gosling being serious and quiet. This was Ryan Gosling being serious and quiet.
Gotcha.
The movie truthfully gave me a headache because the rocket scene, because like the rocket scenes of them launching into space are so aggressive, it triggered like a full-on headache that I had for 2 days.
Well, it's your fault for seeing it at a perfect theater at Pixar. That's what happens. You see it with perfect sound.
And like it was good, but I also kind of fell asleep at the end.
In terms of other spaceship movies, I've never seen Gravity, but I've seen Apollo 13.
I loved Gravity.
If you were to spot buy rent or meh Apollo 13, Gravity, and this movie, what order would you put them in?
Buy Apollo 13, rent Gravity, meh this.
Okay.
Yeah. But like I think it's a well-made film. Listen, it's a well-acted, well-made film, and it's a really interesting take on the story that I think is different from other versions of this type of story. But it gave me a headache. He basically doesn't speak the whole film, and I fell asleep at the end. All that being said, Claire Foy is a vision. I'm now obsessed with her. She's such an incredible actress. Like
she's going to be in the new dragon spider tattoo.
Wow.
Whatever that was.
She's the new dragon tattoo.
She's the new dragon tattoo.
I've never seen The Crown. I will now watch The Crown. Because
well, if you fell asleep at First Man, you're going to want to take a nap before you watch The Crown. Just saying. I know everybody loves it, but that shit is boring. Like, it takes a lot to get
amazing.
The ball rolling.
It's worth seeing, not even the whole film, but just a couple of her scenes in this movie. Okay, next. Still watching Money Heist, still enjoying it, but it's hard to find time to watch because I have to actually sit down and look at the screen, which is hard. I watched an entire season of a show called Manhunt: Unabomber.
Ooh. Is it a drama or is it a documentary?
No, I think it's about the Unabomber.
It's a fictionalized story about the FBI agent who creates the profile and does the XYZ, who leads them to find the Unabomber. Like, you know, it's about like a specific HBO
original series.
FBI
it's about the guy who wrote Arliss.
I feel like Manhunt Unabomber is a perfect case study in a show almost being good. Like it's like adjacent to good.
Like if you were teaching a script writing class, maybe for television,
or like a directing class. If I was teaching a directing class, I'd be like, let's watch this and talk about all the choices you can make to make it just as less good. Yet we watched the whole thing because it was one of those things where like, well, none of us want to really pay attention. Let's put it on. It was fine, but I don't give it a.
But I see the rest of your list in front of me, so you got to keep going because I want to get you.
New TV show on Amazon Prime called Forever with. I
already talked about it last week, just to give you a heads up. Yeah, with Lons.
Okay. I have to go back and listen to that episode. That show is weird and amazing, and I'm in love with both of them, and it's so weird, right?
And I said I sit around watching that show waiting for the moments where Maya Rudolph goes, oh, fuck. Like, I just love her
watch
so
do anything,
much.
Okay.
I'm glad you like it, though.
I'm going to skip over the next one, and I'm going to just say I went to a Fish concert for kids.
Oh, how was that?
Was
wait.
wild.
Okay. I can't wait to hear about that.
It was wild. It was, first of all, it was packed.
You know you live in Berkeley when?
It was a proper theater, like a proper, like real concert hall you'd go to. They weren't playing up on the stage, they were actually playing on the ground on like a mini stage. It was filled with balloons. So you have like 100, 200.
Oh, like a real Fish concert.
Like a real, all the kids were, at one point they bring out one of those giant rainbow colored tent thing, parachutes.
Yeah.
They're playing with the parachute and all the kids are running underneath. The parents are all drinking, so like all the parents are like drinking.
What was the set list? What Fish songs did they play?
You would have to actually look up the set list. I don't know any of the song names by heart, but it was all songs I recognized.
What's the name of the band?
That's like killing Shai right now. He's like, what do you mean?
I don't know the names.
What's the name of the band?
I'm gonna look up the name of the band right now.
Well, we should give them a shout out.
I am.
Are they Berkeley based or are they from somewhere else?
It's called The Music of Fish for Kids featuring Chum. I guess the band is called Chum.
The Music of Fish for Kids.
Featuring Chum. So basically, I think this band goes around and plays different, and he sounded like Trey, and they like, and it wasn't like they were just playing simple versions of the songs. Like each song was like 10 minutes with like tons of jamming.
Really?
It was
and were there
hilarious.
older kids like that would get to run around and stuff,
There,
or like
the
participate?
oldest kid there was like 8 or 9 years old. It was a ton of little kids.
Was all the kids? What I'm saying, were they sitting and listening, or did they get to like move?
Running around and playing
awesome.
and dancing.
That's
like,
awesome.
They were dancing and playing with the balloons, and it was
so
it
cool.
was so much fun.
Oh.
And the biggest surprise of the night is that my friend Becca, who came with her son Ben, turns out she's been to 7 fish shows.
Oh, so it appears Chum is a Fish cover band, and I guess they do a kids show. This is it. Okay.
Yeah.
Which now I get it. Okay.
It was so incredible. Miri and Ben in their little ergo carriers were dancing and waving their arms and having the best time.
That's awesome. That's terrific. I love that.
Shai, we gotta roll into yours.
Okay, so on my list, first I saw The Hitman's Bodyguard. That is a perfect Friday night movie. Bye. All I need to say is Ryan Reynolds being Ryan.
You got bad reviews too.
Yeah, whatever. It was awesome. Ryan Reynolds playing slightly against type.
Hey, he's my brain candy. I'll watch
How
him in
have you
anything.
not seen it?
Ryan Reynolds.
No, I'll see with Dad. It's perfect.
It's Ryan Reynolds being kind of playing a little bit against type because he plays a character that's like down and out, but he's a bodyguard and his whole thing is like boring is best. And so he's like very anal, but he's also a pretty badass bodyguard. And it's him protecting a hitman that is played by Samuel L. Jackson, who is doing classic Samuel L. Jackson-ness, and an amazing Salma Hayek cameo. And that's all you really need to know. That movie is it's the definition of delivers on its promise. It is not a great movie, but it is exactly what you signed up for. Every minute of it. It was a lot of fun. The action's good. The jokes are good. Open and shut. Enjoy. And then I had both a showendipity and an I told you show that I'm going to give to my dear friend Jared Kaplan, who has forever been telling me to watch Trial and Error, which I watched. The entire series was available on the flight back on the airline, and there's only 12 episodes of the first season. So, not the series, but the first season was on, and I was like, okay, 12 episodes on 8 hours of flight, that I can do that just fine. And so I watched that from beginning to end, and all I need to say is that it is, imagine if My Cousin Vinny was reframed with a Jewish lawyer, so more of like a neurotic Jewish lawyer, and it was filmed in the way it was created in the way that of like Parks and Rec, with that faux documentary kind of with the sweetness of Park and Rec. So not
I haven't been able to see it because it's on Hulu, right?
So not the sarcasm of The Office, but the sweetness of Parks and Rec. And wait for it, John Lithgow. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that's the best.
I loved every minute of it. It was adorable. I can't wait to see what they do with another season of it. It immediately, I understand now why that show was kind of the same way The Good Place was a short season but all quality. This was the same thing. I highly recommend it to anybody.
Cool, but it's on Hulu, right? That's why I can't see it, or Prime Video. Where is it?
It's on
it.
Hulu right now, but I'll find a way for you to watch it because you have to watch it. You'll really like it.
Yeah, but
And I'm almost certain there's a second
Hulu only has second season and like a handful of episodes. So
okay.
There's 2 seasons of Trial and Error?
Yeah, I watched like a random season 2 episode, and it's exactly how you describe it.
If that's the case, I'm just buying it because I love this show. So
it's very enjoyable.
That's great.
You bought
and
it.
It has Chenoweth.
I found it delightful.
Oh, maybe she's in season 2. Because I think they changed the case is about in each season. Which is an awesome gimmick, because if you have John Lithgow in that show all the time, then he's so amazing that then he would be what it's all about. So by switching him out for somebody else in the next season, brilliant. So we're just buying this show. This is a buy, and I'm actually putting my money where my mouth is.
Cool.
Bye. All right, guys. 4 minutes.
4 minutes and count down. I will quickly say that Becky had mentioned in her notes that she watched Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat on Netflix. You didn't get a chance to talk about it. but I watched that trailer on repeat for like watch that trailer and it makes you just want to go eat a stick of butter. Like the sounds of all the sauteing and her eating, and like I was like, oh, I don't know if it's healthy for me to watch this show. That trailer looks so yummy. I just wanted to say that.
I didn't talk about it because I feel like I need to see a couple more episodes before I comment. So I'm going to reserve until I watch a few more because I think it's the kind of show where they need to settle
I recommend the trailer is a buy on Netflix. Quickly, trailers. Yeah. Fight World on Netflix, guys. It's only 4 episodes. You can like pick and choose which one you want. Very interesting. Frank Grillo from Kingdom.
Oh, wow.
He's an actual boxer, real life kickboxer himself, and trained boxer. He goes all around the world, Thailand, Israel, a bunch of Senegal, different like places that have fight as such a major part of their culture, and tries to like find the connections and similarities and understand why each culture fights, and that it seems like, you know, is the reasoning behind it the same of why fight is important in the culture and martial arts basically. And so we watched just the one episode about Israel, which was fascinating, but there's 4 in the series, I think 4 or 5, and so very cool if you're interested. Waiting to finish. So I have one more episode to finish Broadchurch season 2. It's been taking forever, but I'm almost there. Knees deep in season 8 of Walking Dead, not 9 because I'm a season behind. But still addicted to that show somehow. And saw Juliet Naked, which is a solid rent. But like Becky said, I feel like if I watched it with more people and stuff, it would have been better. Before we close out the show, I just want to say shout out to Alana Austin, or Alana. I don't know why I'm now calling her the American version of the name. It's Alana Austin, who sent us so lovingly her notes from having watched Monster Squad.
Which
with
I
her
don't
own
think
children.
You can repeat all the words.
I cannot repeat, but I will bleep them out. She sends us notes of, and now she was forewarned though when we had put the show on our podcast, but it said, just watched Monster Squad with the boys. Wow, talk about inappropriate. I had to explain the following words. Bleep, bleep, which I cannot say in 2018. Virgin, chicken shit, and why they call the fat kid instead of his actual name, Horace. And as a kid, I definitely never realized that the scary German dude was a Holocaust survivor. Things that are very shocking as an adult when you watch this movie, but we love hearing from our fans, and thank you so much, Alana, for participating. Other shout outs go to our dad, who's awesome and is like the best papa ever, playing with my kiddo here. The Final Girls LA band on Instagram, you can find them. They're on Spotify. They are a band in LA called The Final Girls. They are not the movie The Final Girls, which I so wonderfully tagged them on Instagram in our last episode, and they were like, your podcast seems rad. That's not us. We think you meant the movie. I then listened to them on Spotify.
Do you think we should try to get them on the podcast? Wouldn't it be fun if they like movies? Lily, I think you're going to have to.
It's great. Love it. It's like, you know, like pretty badass.
All right. Hopefully they'll listen to this shout out, and that's it. They're officially being invited
on our podcast. And then, of course, Chum Fish cover band that made my little Miraless so happy.
And of course, cousin Vanessa.
And of course, cousin
Vanessa, who we're getting ready for her
epic debut,
right?
She's going to come
debut on the podcast coming up, guys. Get excited.
Oh, because the Droughtlander is almost over?
The Droughtlander.
1 week till Droughtlander ends.
1 week.
All right, guys. Love you. You're the best.
You're supposed to ask people not to backseat host.
I'm saying where to follow. I was going to say, I love you guys. You're the best. Before we close out, you totally are backseat hosting me. Becky, where can we follow you?
Paper a BK Princess on Twitter.
Shai, where can we follow you? Everybody sit down. It's going to take a while.
At Pancake per Table on Twitter and Instagram. And you can also catch me every week on the Gold Nerds podcast with Lons and Ash. We taped yesterday an episode that is about the Hershey Park episode and the Freddy Krueger episode. And you guys will get a real kick out of how afraid I still am of Freddy Krueger.
Can't wait to hear that. Also, you have Behind the Music podcast.
Behind the Music as well with Ash. Yeah, we're a little bit behind in our tapings because of our involvement and all this other stuff, but there will be more episodes coming soon.
And you can follow me, Chichi K. Gomez, on the Twitter And we're dancing as the music closes us out. We're dancing. We're dancing. Love you guys.
Bye.
So great talking to you. Okay. Tell me when. Tell me when.
No, you count us in, dude. That's how it works.
Oh, just kidding. 5, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go. Hello. Welcome to. No, that's not what I wanted to say. I had it already written down. Give me 1 second. Sorry, that was just my. Okay.